As if the situation in Libya wasn't crazy enough, there has been mounting evidence from recent media reports that the CIA is now actually controlling the anti-Gaddafi forces inside Libya. Now this has come out because only a few media outlets have actually reported the fact that a few of the top leaders in the Libyan resistance movement are actually paid by the U.S. government, and more particularly linked to the CIA. Khalifa Haftar. Now this is a name that's been largely censored in the Western media. Right now, he is the leader of the anti-Gaddafi forces inside Libya, and he became the leader on March 17th, right before the NATO bombings began. Now I don't think this is a coincidence. The fact is, he's a former CIA asset, and the fact that now he's running the anti-Gaddafi forces inside of Libya should not be a surprise. In fact, so far the only mainstream media outlet to actually report his name was the McClatchy News Service, so I will give definite credit to them for being the only ones who stepped up and said something thus far. In fact, he's drawn so much attention, a right-wing think tank, Jamestown, actually did a report on the guy to decide how they want to react to it and what his role in fulfilling right-wing policy might be. Here's an excerpt from that report. Today, as Colonel Haftar finally returns to the battlefield of North Africa with the objective of toppling Gaddafi, his former co-conspirator from Libya's 1969 coup, he may stand as the best liaison for the United States and allied NATO forces in dealing with Libya's unruly rebels. While he was actually running the Libyan National Army, he was on the payroll of the CIA. Not only that, many of his top officers were actually brought to America to receive training, military training in U.S. military schools. This has come to light after someone's dug up an interview he did in 1991. In fact, now that the story has been broken, NPR has mentioned his name, The New Yorker, The Independent, and the Daily Guardian papers in the UK have now also started to mention him. The careers of several make them sound like characters out of a more sinister Graham Greene novels. They include men such as Colonel Khalifa Haftar, a former commander of the Libyan army in Chad, who was captured and changed sides in 1988, setting up the anti-Gaddafi Libyan National Army reportedly with CIA and Saudi backing. For the past 20 years, he has been living quietly in Virginia before returning to Benghazi to lead the fight against Gaddafi. To this day, there's still a great deal of silence from the U.S.-owned media, though even the Western-owned media, over this man's name and his role in the anti-Gaddafi forces. Now, this should come no surprise, as we are all aware that the elite control the media outlets and have been deliberately keeping his name quiet in order to advance their own imperialist interests. It is now an unfortunate reality that the people of Libya have had their liberation movement co-opted by the CIA and is now under their commands serving U.S. imperial interests. My sincere hope is that the people of Libya can eliminate U.S. and CIA influence from their freedom movement so that they can gain the true freedom they need, and not one that is wholly owned by a foreign imperial power. NATO out of Libya, Libya for the Libyans.